send it to anything.
Wait,
What's
what's
the
the
three
word?
feel special?
Yes,
3 is just translating. We didn't
It can't be multiplied by anything to it itself. Yeah, it can't be multiplied by 1.
Oh,
In order to do itself, like 3 can't be multiplied by anything but 1.
divided by, but yes. For slope, for number 2, this would be, if you label them, 3 minus negative 2 over 2 minus negative 3. This would be 5 over 5, which is 1.
Sorry. Switch it up.
I was right.
Questions on that one?
I got negative 5 for 5, but I still got 1 for 4.
So yeah, you got negative 5 over negative 5.
I'm so good.
There's a lot of talking while I'm talking. If you got negative 5 over negative 5, that would have been 1. But if you got negative 5 over 5, that would have been negative 1. Alright, other questions on that one? Number 4. So important information from this one. The Buffalo Bills scored 24, more than twice the number of points that the Miami Dolphins scored. Altogether, the team scored 66 points. This is very similar to the test question that asked about highest and lowest scores. Setup will be similar. So you need 2 variables, we call that B and M, for number of points they each scored. And then we need an equation for the first part. The Buffalo Bills scored 24, more than twice the number of points that the Miami Dolphins scored. So that would be B equals 24 plus 2 and 50. Altogether, we know they scored 66. So if I added B plus M, I would get 66. So if I were to take this equation for B and put it in for this B, it would look something like this.
So
24 plus 2M plus M. And then we would use this equation and solve. Subtract 24 so that we get 42 and divide. So the M is points. And then you have a choice to find B. You can either put 14 back in your B equation, or you can put it into the 66 equals B plus M. It doesn't matter. So Miami Dolphins would be 14 points, and Buffalo Bills would be 52 points. What questions do we have on that one? Oh. Remember that if you need to, you can always switch numbers so that you have more space to write. Yes. Okay. And then number 5. If we have a fraction that equals another fraction, what's our first step? Cross multiply. So 3 times x plus 1 equals 2 times x minus 3. 3x plus 3 equals 2x minus 6. Move something. If you subtracted 2x and subtracted 3, we would get x equals negative 9. Questions on that one? Make sure you are holding on to your sharp right answer sheets as you saw last time. After we do 4 more, I am going to collect that back, grade it, and give it back to you. Also, if you hold on to all of these over the course of the year, there will be really good SOL review practice for when we go into the SOL.
Is this a formative grade?
Informative.
Formative?
Right? And then take out your intercept notes.
I just don't crown that.
But
Oh my god.
we were going to do number 4, yes. Alright. I don't remember exactly what I said. Hey, ladies.
We walk in next.
Control.
Alright, I need everyone to focus. Alright, for number 4. I believe I said this, I don't remember, because we were running out of time. If I asked you what is the y-intercept, what would you tell me? 0. It's a 0, -6, -6, yes.
I'm so smart.
As a reminder, if it's in this format, this is really your slope-intercept form. So if you look at the last number, that is your y-intercept. You don't have to do the work to do that. We are going to do the work to find our x-intercept. Remember that f of x is the same as y. You can replace it, or you can just change the whole thing to 0. I need you guys to focus. You're so unfocused today. So how would we start solving this? You would start by adding space. By doing what, Darren? Adding space. Adding 6. And then how would we get rid of 2/3?
You know that 2/3 of 6 is 4.
It's not going to be multiply by the reciprocal. So
Reciprocal, that's what it's called.
Multiply by the reciprocal. So at this point, we should no longer be dividing by the fractions. We should be flipping and multiplying by the reciprocal.
Why do we flip again?
It's the same thing as dividing by the fraction, but we're no longer doing that. So it would be 9. To get 9, 0. Look at numbers 2 through 6. Are there any others we want to see you go over, have questions about?
You do 5, 3,
10.
3.
Honestly,
Right? We can do 3
we do 6.
if we have time before lunch. If not, we'll do it after. So number 3, what would be the y-intercept here?
0,
7. And then for our x-intercept, we would put 0 in for y and solve by subtracting. And then to get x by itself, you divide by negative 1. So that x equals 7. So x is 7, 0.
I really just did that all by myself.
And then we can start number 6. What would the y-intercept for number 6 be? 4. How would I write that as a y, as an order pair?
0,
0, 1.
So on the test, you have to write this on the correct. What number are we doing? 6.
And then for our x-intercept, 0 equals negative 2/5 x plus 4. Get rid of the 4 by subtracting. Very cool.
I have a question for you guys. Would you get more? Would you get more points if you did the work right, but you got the answer wrong, than if you got the answer right but did no work?
You would get more points for if you got the answer without any work, you'll get points for the answer. That's it. But because there are points within the work, you would get more points for showing incorrect work than not showing work at all.
You take 0.5 points off every time you don't show us that. So if you don't
She took 25 off for not having an
automatic, you count the amount of steps you write in and then you take it off.
You just only get credit for the answer. Okay, anyway, how would we get rid of this?
Multiply by the reciprocal.
5, 2.
Because reciprocal.
And what
10.
Yes.
I got it.
We never got what they were negative.
So I'm going to show you how to do this on the calculator first because it's more steps. And then I'll show you how to do it on Desmos, and then I'll give you some time to practice with either or, and then we'll move on. So in your calculator, reset it first. Second plus 7, 1, 2. Resetting the calculator. Second plus 7, 1, 2. Then we're going. So all the steps I am going to say will be listed on here, as well as on the side of your paper. So if you get lost, there as well. So we're going to type number 1 in. So we're going to go into y equals at the top. There's already a y there, so we don't need to put y or f of x. And then we're going to type in x squared minus 16. Make sure you have a variable first, then squared, then minus 16.
How do you do the variables again?
There's a button here that's like all of those.
So x squared. Oh, so
Once
X
you have
squared.
that in y equals,
minus
graph
16.
it.
Oh. X squared.
Now,
I don't think it shows.
most of the time, when you graph this, you might be able to see your x intercepts here. I can't see my y intercepts. So I can say my intercepts are going to be at -4 and 4. But if I wanted to double check, or maybe it was on a decimal and we're not sure, this would be the process to do that. So if you can see them, you can just write them down. But if you couldn't see them, we're going to double check. So we're going to go into second trace because we need to calculate. And remember that 0 is another word for x-intercept. So we're going to go into 0, number 2. Not quite. So here, we can't do this at the same time. We have to do one at a time. So let's say we're finding this x-intercept. We have to pick a number to the left of this. So someone give me a number to the left of this.
-5.
Sure, -5. So type that in, hit enter. Sorry, make sure your phone is yours may just do the cursor or the line, could be a mixture. So this line is showing that it's not going to look past that point. It's like a barrier. Now we need to write down something to the right of this, but that doesn't go past the other one. So somewhere in here, give me a number in there. Sure. So -3. Now I have barriers on both sides. It's looking in between those 2 points. Then it says yes, you don't want to do that. You want the calculator to do the work for you, so hit enter again. And it'll tell you what that x-intercept is, and then you would just write that down. Just in case you missed that, we're going to do the other one.
So, what I'm doing, what are you doing?
So we're going to do the other one. So we're going to follow along with this one. Right? To calculate this x-intercept, go back into second trace. Go back into 0. Now we need a number to the left of this, but that doesn't go past this one. So somewhere in between here, give me a number that works.
0.
3 would work, 0 would also work, either of those. So something in there. Now I need something to the right of this. So any number pass. You want to make sure it's in your graph so you can still see it. So 10 works because it's like on the edge. But if I chose 11, you wouldn't be able to see it. So now I have my boundaries. So now I'm going to hit enter again to get my x-intercept. Okay, so that is how we find x-intercepts in the calculator. Questions about those?
Wait, so what would the not put a number and just try to like
Use all of these. So the number to the left of one of your x-intercepts, type that in, then pick a number to the right, type that in, and place, yes.
Where would you put 0, 4?
If it's order pair, it's always x, y first. But for the y-intercept, it's going to be 0 first. Now to find the y-intercept in the calculator, we're going to go back to second trace. But now we're going to go into value, number 1, not number 2. And it's asking us for an x equals. So if we're looking for a y-intercept, what is our x value? 0. So we're going to put in 0 and hit enter. And that will give you your y-intercept. 0, -16. That means down here somewhere is going to cross the y-axis. We just can't see it because it's off the ground. Questions on how you find the y-intercept on the calculator? Now I'm going to show you in Desmos, so open up your iPads to Desmos. And we'll do one of these, so you guys can choose numbers 2 through 10. Pick one of those. One of the numbers 2 through 10. We'll do that one. Okay. Short. So we're going to type in number 8 into Desmos. So for the third, you want x and then the a to the b. But after you do that, you have to go to the right to come out of it. Plus 2x squared minus 15x. You guys good? Okay. So once you have this typed in, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, thicker, easier to see. If you want to zoom out so you can see what it actually looks like, that's what it actually looks like. But we are looking for the x and y intercepts. So if you click on the graph, points will highlight, and you'll be able to see your x and y intercepts. And then you'll write those down. Now, be careful, because multiple points get highlighted. These points are highest and lowest. Don't worry about those. They don't have zeros in them. You don't need them. So we would write these down. Have any questions on how we find x and y intercepts in Desmos? Okay. So I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes to practice doing either the calculator or Desmos, as many of these as you can in 10 minutes. Calculator or Desmos, you can work together, use Desmos or the calculator or both. Let me know if you have any questions.
what test will we do?
On to the page that looks like this.
We're not going to be able.
No. Because I don't know which one you guys talked about solving intercepts algebraically, but not in this format. Process is the same, it just looks different. We do not need to convert these. We can solve them as is. So let's say we're looking for x-intercept. We're going to put 0 in for y. And then start to solve. So in a moment, I'm going to show you how you can skip some steps, but some steps you have to still show. At the end, after you solve for it, you still have to put it in as an ordered pair. Do we have questions on how we found that?
Will it always be 0 for
The number you put in? For this, for intercepts, yes. This is to show you how to practice at home, how to check yourself at home. Then we would do the same thing for the y, so we're going to skip some steps, but you have to show that you put 0 in, because that's the original, how do you solve this? You know that 0 times anything is going to be 0, so you don't have to put the 0 after that, you can just rewrite and solve so that y equals 8. Now, this case, the x and y intercepts were opposites of whatever it was connected to. That won't always be the case, so don't assume that. Questions about how we found the x or y intercept on that? Look at, we're going to do one more, and then I'll have you guys look through.
When you're finding the y-intercept, you change the x to 0, but when you're finding the x-intercept, you're changing
The
the
y.
y to 0.
Yes, they're opposites. So let's do the same thing for number 2. We have 4x equals 8. Divide both sides by 4, so that x equals 2. But when we go to do this for y, and we put the 0 in, that just goes away. You just have y equals 8. You don't have to add anything else. We don't have to solve anything else. That is our y-intercept. 0, 8. Questions on that? Okay. Look at numbers 3 through 10. Find any you want to see, do, go over, have questions about.
6. I think I figured it out. Well, y-intercept is definitely 5.
We're going to talk about it. Do you have a different one?
6.
What is it? And so I.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so 5 will be similar. So we'll do 1, and then you'll be able to figure out the other. So in these, you're given one of them. This is definitely your x-intercept. Yes.
Sure.
Possible.
I just don't know. It could be y.
No, it's not. Now, I am going to graph this so that you see what this looks like. You can graph it too if you like.
Or the y.
That's what we're about to talk about.
I'm gonna be knocked asleep in my next
Yeah, that
one.
would be.
Oh my gosh, it's undefined. Wait, that's not undefined. It's there.
The slope is undefined, yes, but does this cross that y-axis at all?
No.
No. So we can put none, doesn't exist, and A, we cannot put 0, because that would mean it would cross at 0.
So none.
So none.
And then for y, it's y equals 5. And then it would be none for x.
Correct.
That is so amazing.
So when you say I'm right, it's like, think about it.
Friday.
Yes.
Because
Now
y
I just jumped.
5. I don't know what X is.
9.
Wait, that's the wrong way. I did that wrong. Y equals.
Any other questions in 3 through 10?
Nope.
10.
10.
Because we're gonna get.
How do we do that?
Yes. Okay.
That was just so long.
Yes, so I'll see you something.
All right. So for number 10, let's do this one, and then we're gonna change gears and move on to the next one.
I think I know.
Like you said, noise.
Focus. So if we put 0 in, we're going to end up with a fraction. Sometimes your x and y intercepts will be decimals, fractions. It's okay. If you want to put it as a decimal, you can. So you would write that as negative 6.250.
Negative 25 divided by 4 is what x? What's that? Negative 6.25. I did it now.
But your y is going to have a whole number. We'll have negative 5y equals negative 25. So that y is 5.
Oh, look at me go.
Let's not say that.
You guys, man.
I
I want you to respect
Yeah, no foul.
Max, I would like an apology.
That's not how.
Okay, sorry, man.
Max, apologize, please.
What does that mean? Like you mean it. Like you mean it.
Okay. Other intercept questions before we move on to graphing. We're not going to do a bunch of graphing, just a little bit. Okay. Graphing lines. These are the rules we have to follow. We have to put the equation in y equals mx plus b format if it's not already. Plot the y-intercept. Use the slope to create more points. Connect them into the line. So if you want to do these things, you can do this. If you want to highlight the x and y axis so that you know where they are so you don't get confused, you can do that. Highlight it or outline it more. If you want to label what your m and your b are off to the side, you can also do that. So this is already in slope-intercept form. What's your y-intercept? 3. We're going to plot a point at 3. Your slope is what?
Negative
1 over 1. Negative 1 over 1. I did not write that, but okay. So if we have a negative slope, what directions could we go to get it?
Left.
Down, and to the right, or what other directions? Up and to the left. Up and to the left. Up and to the left. We're going to do both. So from the y-intercept, we can go down 1, right 1, as many times as possible to fill up your graph. And then go back to the y-intercept and go up 1, left 1, as many times as possible and fill up your graph. We should be putting as many slope points as we can to fill up the graph.
That's a lot of points.
How do we get the 1 over 1? That's their.
All whole numbers are over 1. Is the invisible 1 right here? Okay.
No.
There's an invisible 1 right here. And then all whole numbers are over 1. Once you have all of your points, use your line, use your ruler to draw a line to connect all the points. Draw arrows at the end because lines go on forever and never move directions.
You count points off, you don't do
Yes.
how many? 0.5?
Right. Lines go on forever and ever. Just like numbers. Lines are numbers. Questions on number 1?
Hey, not this one.
Okay, let's do number 2.
Don't touch it.
What is the y-intercept? Negative 4. Negative 4. Plot a point at negative 4. What is the slope?
3 over 1.
3 over 1. It's positive, what directions could I go to get a positive slope?
Up and right.
Up and right, or
Down and left.
But in this case, can I go down and left?
No.
No, I've run out of grass space. So we're just gonna go up 3 to the right one as many times as possible.
It's not really straight.
And then draw your line, connect your points. I didn't do that right.
It's gonna be a pain sport.
It will be.
Mistakes are
Inevitable and important. All of the above, yes.
These points don't look straight, but they're where they're supposed to be.
It should look something like that. Okay, did you have a question?
You have a question? Yeah. I can explain. You gotta start at -4. So line up to -4. And then go up to 2.
Alright, for number 3, what's our y-intercept?
2.
So put a point at 2. It's already in a fraction form. So
Is that our slope?
that is your slope. So this would go in what direction?
Up 2, down. No, up 2, left, right, right, 5.
Up 2, right 5, or what other directions? Down
to left 5.
Yeah, so let's do that. Up to right 5 and down to left 5.
Let's not tell my English teacher here.
That's okay. I don't English all the time. No one English.
I am in English.
So I'll play this one. You will play this one.
I don't know any language, but
So you're lucky. You can just like drag your point and you're just like, oh, where are you?
oh yeah.
You can this is hard work already.
Alright, we're gonna do one more.
Let's not.
What's the y-intercept? One. Yes. Plot a point at 1. The slope is -3/4. How could we get a negative? What directions?
Down and left.
Down and not left together, but down and right, or up and left. So we can go up 3 to the left 4 and down 3 to the right 4. And draw your line.
To the right, to the left.
Down to the right,
Oh.
up to the left.
Actually, it should not say that out loud.
I didn't see anything.
Almost.
Can you tell me about
I can't say what was said, but yes, I apologize.
Say all you mean that.
No.
Okay. Do we have any other questions in numbers 5 through 9 that we want to see you go over, have questions about? No. Okay, so I'm going to ask, number 9, what's the y-intercept?
1. -1.
0.
It's the origin.
Keep that in mind. The y-intercept for number 9 is 0.
Apologize.
Shut up, man.
So you just don't do it? Like you just start from the origin.
Okay. This is no longer in slope-intercept form. Correct. You have to convert it. So think back to how we were converting. What would be our first step?
Get rid of
X by subtracting it to the other side.
2y equals -x.
everything by 2. So that our new equation would be
Y equals 2 negative 1/2 x plus 2.
because this is a 1 dividing by 2. So this would be negative 1/2 x plus 2. So divide everything by 2.
Yeah.
Right? Then we can graph this. There are people talking while I'm talking, and I don't know why. The slope here is negative. What directions can I go to get that?
Down and right,
Or
up and left. Look at me go.
so up and to the left 2, down and to the right 2, and right on.
Why do you have 3? Why does that turn smooth on? Oh,
Wait, so what's the y? Oh, the y intercept.
Let's do number 11, and then I'm going to have you guys do a couple, and then we'll be done. We're doing so much fun today.
Don't say that.
here's my head.
Alright, what's our first up? Subtract 3x. Focus. What's our first up? Subtract 3x. Subtract 3x.
Why do we have to subtract the x minus y?
We're trying to get y by itself. So if we move y to the other side, we're really creating extra steps if we do that. We could do that, but it would create extra steps. Okay, and then do what? Divide everything by -2.
And then 3 plus 3, is it positive? Wouldn't it be a positive?
Yes, all your signs are going to change. So 3. What is this equation?
Negative
Yeah, positive 3 half.
Plus.
X plus 3.
Wait, how much power?
Because it was 2 negative.
Two negative. A negative divided by a negative equals all of those things. So our slope is positive, so we can go up and to the right or down and to the left. Well, in this case,
We can't go up.
Correct.
It's dominance.
Alright.
That dot in the middle throws me off.
Yeah, so I think when I did these during birth year, and then I went to take them off, the dot was still there, and they've just been there ever since.
You just said this one was just like every year.
I'll fill them out.
That is
Have
disgusting.
I mean, our teachers do whatever they
That's
feel like.
How do you even let
I
that
changed
happen?
something. In one case about
Examine
quadratic
Literally
equation,
about to
and
back
teaches
to
about
Well,
quadratic, and then it goes to the Go on to the next page. I want you to try these last two, 20 and 21. When you have done those two, listen. Some of us are not listening. After you've done those two, raise your hand, I'll come check them. And then you can use the remaining time to either practice more of these. If you would like, there is a graphing and killing zombies activity. You could try that. Delta math, or you can grab your phone after I've checked the two. So do those two, raise your hand, let me check them, and then you can work on practice or grab your phone.